Good evening to my gentle viewing audience. It's your man Shane Black coming back. Glad that I did not change my name to reflect the political views which are going to dominate my videos until 2024 in all likelihood. But I want to talk to you tonight about the return of the new slaves. Now, this is nothing similar to The Return of the New Gods, the comic book that came out in the mid to late 1970s. A return of the new gods created by Jack Kirby and his Fourth World. No. The return of the new slaves is the return of black people and other people of color to slavery. Now, the slavery that Joe Biden is going to put you in, I misspoke, is going to put your children in and your grandchildren in will come about from lack of education. Lack of education will lead to lack of job opportunities. Lack of job opportunities will lead to welfare and lead to you sucking on that government teat. And if you're sucking on that government teat, you're more likely to vote for Democrats because Republicans in general believe in, real Republicans that is, believe in less government, more self-governance. You'd handle your own personal responsibility. We're not going to create this massive welfare program so you could sit on your ass at home and get paid for it. But I don't want to go too far afield without laying out the groundwork first. So, I'm going to switch up. What you have been looking at, or what you should have been looking at, is an image of Courtney Nelson, I believe her name is. You should have read it on the bottom of the screen. It may still be up there. I don't know. Talking about, oh, well, Joe Biden thanked the black voters. Now I'm thinking, well, let's see if he keeps his word. Black voters saw what Donald Trump did for them. Informed black voters, I guess I should say. Black voters who listened to both sides of the argument and made up their own mind after looking at the evidence. Should have seen lowest black unemployment since slavery. Okay, shit. Blacks is employed as fuck back during slavery, but they just weren't getting paid for it. He got unemployment. Donald Trump got unemployment that low. Created opportunity zones. Fought against the teachers unions and the CDC to get those schools reopened. This is where the new slave class comes in. This is where your children are going to become slaves to the white master again. The fact of the matter is this. Remote learning hurts children of color. Not just black children, all children of color. More so than Caucasian children. That's a fact. You can look it up, and if I'm being generous, I might put a link in the description box. And you can read the article for yourself. Now, this situation is similar to the Democrats, the elected Democratic politicians in certain municipalities who were caught telling you to keep your ass at home and no unnecessary travel. Don't go to the hair doctor. Don't go to Cabo St. Lucas. Don't just keep your fucking ass at home and stay safe. Whereas that bitch Lori Lightfoot went to get her hair done. Hell, I'm a public figure. I need to be properly coiffed. I believe Gavin Newsom in California said something similar. Never really heard this about Republicans, did you? See, these are rules for thee and not for me. And in this case, it's education for me and not for thee. When I say me, I'm talking about the children of these rich, entitled assholes. One moment. This time we've got vitamins B-R-A-N-D-Y. Hold on. Just got the VS, not the VSOP. Anyway, it is the rich and the super upper middle class that have voted for these Democrats. The majority have voted for these Democrats. And to keep them in power, the teachers union donated millions, if not billions of dollars to the Democratic Party and Democratic candidates. Joe Biden is beholden to the teachers union. And as I said, and you should be looking at it now, Donald Trump fought to get those schools reopened, even threatened to withhold federal funding if they didn't open the schools up safely, mind you, and the science said that schools could be safely reopened. Joe Biden, having been paid, having the teachers union fund his election campaign to a tune of I don't know how many millions of dollars, has laid back and let the director of the CDC, after she has been properly coached, to deliver a political decision as it relates to school reopening. Now, the first slide you should have seen up there would have been Donald Trump's. The current CDC guidelines are color-coded guidelines. And with those color-coded guidelines, those are based on transmission rates in the county. And the fact of the matter is this: that shit don't matter when it comes to the schools. Now, I'm no scientist. One might say I'm closer to being an attorney than a scientist. That is, if I am not, in fact, an attorney, but it's none of your fucking business. Only thing you need to know is I work for the government. Well, shit, you didn't need to know that. But all during this pandemic, I've been getting paid, I will get paid, I can't get fired, and I'm retired like a motherfucker, and have that fat ass pension. It's going to pay me and probably 2-3 generations of my family afterwards. But as I am not a public health expert, I will quote from Joseph G. Allen and Helen Jenkins, because this is what they said, and it was published in the Washington Post. They said these guidelines add, quote, new and unnecessary demands that will ultimately keep millions of kids out of school. They said that at one point in time, they favored tying school reopening to metrics for community spread, which is what the CDC is doing right now. In the past, yeah, but now more data has become available. So right now, these two public health experts changed their position in light of overwhelming, let me just say that again, overwhelming scientific evidence that transmission within schools can be kept low regardless of community spread, so long as good mitigation measures are in place. Did you hear what the fuck I said? I hope so, because I'm not going to repeat it. Joe Biden is beholden to the public schools. Fuck. Let me try to get this out. I don't edit it. He's beholden to the teachers' unions that represent teachers in the public schools. And based on these guidelines, schools that are already fully reopened would have to step back. They'd have to step back and say, oh, well, no, we're sorry. Even though there have been no cases of COVID since we've been open the last 4 months, y'all got to take your kids and get the fuck out of here. One thing, however, and if you're still listening at this point, you're intelligent enough to know this. School districts are local. So yeah, the CDC can have guidelines. The school district can say, fuck you, we're opening anyway, and boom, end of story. What these guidelines do is allow teachers in places like the San Francisco Unified School District, whatever the fuck the Chicago Unified School District, call it CUD, hell, whatever the hell CUD, those teachers can stay out. Oh, well, no, we don't want to go back. Remote learning. We are open following CDC guidelines. Look at what President Biden said, the guidelines. However, private schools, religious schools, those institutions are open. Those institutions charge parents money, moolah, guap, fetty, cash, check or money order, in order to educate your child. Now, your property taxes are taken in order to pay for public schools. If you put your child in a private school, you still have to pay the fucking property taxes, but now you got to pay extra. And that's why I said the rich or the super upper middle class can do this. I'll pay my property taxes, pay a little something to the school, boom, problem solved. However, the majority of individuals of color do not fall in even the upper middle class range. Do not fall in the middle class range. The lower middle class and the underclass range is where you'll find the majority of individuals of color, meaning your options are severely limited. So while Joe Biden's grandchild and maybe great-grandchild, I don't know if the girl had any children or not, while Kamala Harris's niece, while Gavin Newsom's children in California, he was keeping the schools closed and shit, and talking something about education, but his children were in school. Well, I feel you, and the schools are closed, and we really need to be nice if they could be open, but safely so our children could be educated. Shut the fuck up. Your children are in school, Gavin Newsom. Shut your fucking mouth. Hold on. So, black people, the 87% of black voters who put Joe Biden in office, a man who you will know, even though these guidelines just came out on Friday, 2 days ago, because it's Sunday. Watch, is he will not fight to get the schools open. Go back and watch the previous video. Somebody from the CDC stated that schools could open safely even without teachers being vaccinated. They should go back to school right now. And within a week, the director of the agency comes back and says, that was actually an accident. That person was speaking in their personal capacity, even though the interview said CDC bitch on the bottom of the fucking screen. They politicized it. The teachers union is too powerful, and you need to have school choice vouchers. Have the opportunity to take your money, the money that the government pays for each student to be in class, take the portion from your child and put that towards a charter school, a private school, a Catholic school, a Baptist school. And if there's a difference, you pay the difference, but you're not paying both. Pull yourself out of the gutter. Let me wrap this up. This has gone on longer than I wanted it to. But again, it's another reason for me and others like me to be ashamed to be black. You put a man in office, you put a man in office who did not tell you what he would do for you, who co-sponsored a crime bill designed to put people who look like you and I in jail at a rate of it was a 10 or 100 times longer than Caucasian individuals for the simple difference of rock cocaine versus powder cocaine. And now he's doing that shit to people who look like you and I again by keeping schools closed. Excuse me. One point I forgot to mention, it just hit me right now. What is it? Over 70% of black children being born out of wedlock or being raised in single parent homes. If you are in a single parent household, like I say, I believe the figure is over 70%. Excuse me. Now my vitamins. Just take my figure. 70% of black households are single parent. Now, if you force schools to perform remote learning, force parents to have to stay home with their child to educate their child, well, now all of a sudden you created a situation where that parent must go running to the government for aid, to that welfare, because they had to quit their job to educate their child. Or you have B, the parent continues to work and trusts that the child will perform that remote learning on their own. You're saying middle school and up. Child says fuck that shit and doesn't do it, or performs extremely poorly. That's going to be the new slave caste. That's your new slavery right there. So you can quit your job and go on welfare, and then maybe your child will be educated. It depends on how intelligent you are, and I met a whole bunch of stupid ass black parents. Or you can continue to go to work and allow your child to grow up to be an idiot. And when your child is an idiot, your child will not be likely to be gainfully employed. You might work at McDonald's or something, but you won't escape that lower class. There's a rumor out there, and it's probably true, that Democrats want to destroy the middle class. Because if they destroy the middle class, the lower class, they're the ones on welfare, SNAP, and everything else that will continue to vote Democrat just for the fact that they get those entitlement programs that Republicans and conservatives dislike. That's it. That's all, Jennifer. Fuck, it's damn near 20 minutes again. I'm out.